Serious, overweight obese redditors, what are some common issues that you struggle with that the average person wouldn't expect? I'll post to this. I'm 400 pounds. All my life I was obese and I never let it stop me. Slowly as the weight climbed I found myself doing less. It got so bad I stopped leaving the house. I ordered out all the time, usually so much it made me sick. Worst it got is double trips to MC Donald's for 6 MC doubles, 2 large fries and a Coke with a Frosty, twice daily. I wanted to die. That was my goal. Eat myself to death. I was so big I broke my car seats in half getting out one day. When you can't register a car's struggle with a hill because of your weight. I smelled, cause I didn't shower. I remember over tipping the delivery drivers because I was embarrassed. Making up lies like we had a party or some brother hanging out. Highest weight I hit was 550. My mom died while I was doing this. I lived with her at the time. Knowing that my mother will never see her son happy and healthy kills me every day. Knowing that the last thing she saw was me struggling to open the bag of fast food I had bought. Please, keep trying to lose weight even if it's coming off slowly. Don't let it consume you. And don't ever let the dirty glances make you feel less human. Frick those people. I have since lost 150 pounds. Trying to get health for my mother, if not for myself. Congrats on the 150. Keep it up. How painful it is to have a physical representation of your addiction weakness that everyone can see. Other vices or addictions like gambling, drug use, alcoholism, shopping addiction, etc. can be hidden to a certain extent. Being fat is a 24/7 billboard for my emotional eating. And the worst part is that you might actually be fighting it. You might be making progress and losing weight, but it's not instantaneous. So even if you're proud of yourself for losing 20 pounds or whatever, that guy at the bus stop is judging you just as hard as he would if you hadn't made any progress at all. Instead of something that I struggle with, I'll focus on something that has helped me. December 2015 I weighed 315 pounds. I had 2 blown out knees from football, and bad ankles and back. I was sick of the way I felt and looked, so I decided to try and start to change. I would have never been able to do it without my girlfriend. She would go to the gym every day already, so it started with a simple "Hey, I'm going to the gym. Want to come?" Some days I wouldn't feel like it and some days I would. I'd go a couple times a week and she would support me the whole time. "Great job on that lift. You're looking strong." Comments like that made the difference. When we would cook food or even go out to dinner, she would say stuff like, "Oh, this grilled chicken wrap looks good," just to get my eyes off of the unhealthy options on the menu. That led to me making my own food choices and ultimately stop drinking soda and less beer. That was a huge step around month 4. A year later, after various health changes and support from her, I've lost 65 pounds and feel better than ever. I know it's not the "oh, I've lost over 100 pounds in 7 months" story, but progress is progress. Anyone who fat shames now around me gets an earful. Support is what is needed and what helps the most. 65 pounds in a year is a huge deal. Let yourself feel good about it, dude. At my heaviest, I was 300 pounds at 17 years old. As a very social girl, it was all the little things I couldn't do as a teenage girl: hanging with my friends. I couldn't just borrow a guy's hoodie or jacket because it most likely wouldn't fit. I couldn't just sit on a friend's lap for fun. I couldn't just run away from a guy holding a gross bug. I couldn't just sit on a folding chair at outside picnics because it might bend or break. I couldn't just randomly skip. I couldn't get piggyback rides from guys. I couldn't just go to amusement parks without doing diligent research on weight limits beforehand. I couldn't go clothes shopping with my friends. I would just stick to the shoes and accessories section when we went out. Now that I'm 23 and lost half my weight, I take advantage of all the things I missed out as a teenager. I can now be spontaneous. I cannot imagine going through that at age 17. Congratulations on losing the weight. Externally, seeing that immediate first impression of yuck flit across someone's face when they first see you. When I was obese, I hated going out because this would happen all the time, especially walking into a shop and the receptionist looking at you in disgust before they remember to smile. Being talked about negatively behind your back but close enough that you can hear. Being treated as disgusting by girls. If it was just not being interested in you sexually, it wouldn't be so bad. But some girlfriends of my friends hated even being around a fatty, or being seen with one. Seems to have gone away after mid-20s, so may not be a problem with more mature people. Internally, thighs, buttocks chafing when you walk. Worse when you run. I would sometimes walk for a couple of hours and then the welts on my ass would be so bad I had to lie down for a day. The unbelievable sweating of doom. Sometimes I felt like I'd been swimming in a deep fryer. Getting exhausted after what should be very little physical activity. Joint and ligament damage from too much pressure impact weight. All of the above contributes to a vicious cycle that keeps you inside and immobile and makes it harder to lose weight. I used to be morbidly obese, that is, BMI over 35, but got down to a healthy weight. When I was heavier, I was invisible to the opposite gender. Their eyes slid over me in public as if I wasn't even there. Fat people just don't register as human beings in the same way that healthy people do. I always feel really awkward around people with obvious disabilities because I don't want them to feel like I'm staring at them. So I am sure I frequently overcorrect and treat them like they're invisible. It's not that I value their life less than any other human. It's that I'm trying to be cognizant of their feelings. Sharing this as someone who within the last few years put on an excessive amount of weight due to a variety of reasons. Currently losing weight, getting back into shape, and basically getting back to life. The biggest things I noticed when I had added 100 plus lbs. It does actually get harder to wipe your own butt. Frick, you breathe heavier, even while sitting or lying. Laying in bed. At the fattest point this really shook me. In bed. Quiet room. Almost labored breathing. Frick, everything takes a lot more effort. Walking upstairs, getting out of the car or a low chair sofa, doing household chores, walking the dog, etc. Frick, fat hurts. Like if you get poked or you catch yourself on a sharp corner of furniture, for some reason, fatty parts of your body suddenly now hurt. Whereas, when you were skinny you didn't notice things so much. So, yeah. Getting fat fricking sucks in a lot of ways. I'm close enough to my fit and healthy days to really notice it and have used that as motivation to make my way back to better times. Yeah, I totally came here to mention that it becomes hard to wipe your own butt. I'm so glad I've lost as much weight as I have because that particular daily task is so much easier. Alcoholism. I genuinely eat relatively healthy on sober days, but when I'm drinking and the day after all bets are off. The deeper I get into alcoholism the more beer it takes to get drunk, which means even more empty calories. I was literally near dead in a hospital just over half a year ago. I weighed nearly 300 pounds and was pretty much waiting to die of alcoholism. The day they released me I pretty much locked myself into a gym and haven't left yet. Totally sober now. It's the best thing I have ever done, and is weirdly far easier than you think once you get it going. Don't give up. Finding clothes that fit on all parts of the body. When I was obese, most of my fat went to my belly and butt. Buying pants was a nightmare. Anything that fit my waist and hips would look absolutely ridiculous on my legs. Shirts never ever looked right. People just don't treat you like a person. I always used to sort of disbelieve women who complained about constant negative attention from men, because it just never happened to me. No one ever hit on me. No one really interacted with me at all. If I wanted to make friends or pursue a relationship, it was always me putting in all the initial effort. I hated the way I looked. I knew I was fat, and I wanted to change. But when you try to change, eat healthier, eat less, and work out, and people give you crap for it, not encouraging. I left 2 different gyms because of skinny B who thought it was cool to make fun of the fatty. People would talk about me at work no matter what kind of food I brought for lunch, so eventually I just stopped eating at work. I'm so glad I'm over all that. But now, if someone so much as looks at fat people wrong around me, they're out of my life. I have no tolerance for fat hate. I was on a medication that caused my weight to go from 130 pounds to 200 pounds in a few months. I'm a 5 feet 8 inches woman. I stopped the medication, but it took me 1.5 years to lose the weight. Issues I had when I was overweight. 1. When you walk while wearing shorts, your thighs cause the fabric to bunch up and then ride up into your crotch. I tried to walk to lose weight, and it was take 4 steps, extract my shorts from my tush, take 4 more steps, repeat. It was so embarrassing, so I didn't want to walk outside when it was warm. Capris don't wad up in your crotch, so I ended up wearing them all the time. 2. The fabric bunching up from your thighs also wrinkled my pants minutes after I started walking around. I felt like I looked like I had no pride in my appearance and fit the stereotype of fat slob. I hated leaving my house. 3. I couldn't breathe when I bent over to tie my shoes, and belts would dig into my stomach or get wedged between fat rolls when I was sitting down. 4. I became invisible after I gained weight. I used to think that the majority of people are kind and friendly, but it turns out that they only smile or hold doors open for skinny girls. It changed my whole outlook on humanity. 5. I was fortunate that no one used tough love to convince me to lose weight. My friends and family were all really supportive and encouraging. I think it would have taken me a lot longer to lose the weight if people intentionally made me feel worse than I already did. I don't know how anyone can think that overweight people have no idea that they are fat or that they are oblivious to the health risks. Losing a lot of weight is hard. You have to work at it every day and you don't see immediate results for your efforts. It could take a month of work to lose 10 pounds, and I wouldn't look any less fat for all that effort. And then there are the plateaus that anyone losing a lot of weight experiences. I stayed at one plateau for 2 months, despite dieting and exercising every day. 6. I wish people understood that when you see an overweight person out in public, you are seeing a snapshot of one day of their life. A 300-pound person may have spent the last year losing 100 pounds. Maybe they just started a weight loss program. You don't know. So when you take it upon yourself to shame that person into losing weight, you can just as easily end up sending them the message that all the effort they've been making to lose weight has been pointless. 7. Not all people are overweight because they are lazy and just choose to stuff themselves with food. I was on Seroquel when I gained 70 pounds. Seroquel not only causes an appetite surge and cravings, it also changes the way your body processes food and stores fat. There are many other conditions, such as hypothyroidism and vitamin D deficiency, that also cause weight gain and difficulty losing weight. Being laughed at and stereotyped since I'm a lesbian. I was once told I'm living proof that lesbians are fat and ugly. I also feel the need to try and excel in everything I do in order to be considered as good as other people. I feel as if my work never gets taken seriously due to my appearance. National parks aren't as fun. I've been obese most of my life with a stint at the low range of normal and a longer stint at the low end of overweight, and it's hard doing things like hiking that I love and just can't enjoy as much as I did when I was at a lower weight. You also have to look harder for quality medical care. I went to a new doc the other day to have her take out stitches I'd gotten that year. She spent 30 seconds taking out the stitches and left half the thread inside my skin, and 20 minutes asking questions like, "So do you ever eat vegetables and do you get any physical activity at all?" Despite my having already told her I've lost 15 pounds in the past 2 months by moving to a plant-based diet and taking 5-mile walks 6 times a week. Also, it's obnoxious when well-meaning thin people patronizingly explain incredibly obvious things about nutrition. They try to be helpful by saying things like, calories in, calories out and lean muscle mass burns calories, but dude, I've lost 80 plus pounds 3 times in my life and put the weight back on. I understand how to do it. Weight loss is simple. It's just not always easy. I love the last line you write. I'm going to remember that. Best wishes. Confidence. It destroys your confidence. Body image is such a huge issue, especially for women. I try to go to the gym, but seeing skinny girls and they're working out in their yoga pants, sometimes giving me the side eye, always makes me stop coming back. I've cried in a gym bathroom before. It's this catch-22 of needing the confidence to go to the gym but needing to lose weight to give you that confidence. I've started finding ways to work out that don't involve using any machines whatsoever because I hate the gym so much. Not sitting comfortably. I work with kids and getting up and down off the floor can be a real issue. Plus, finding a position you can easily get up from to follow them around is not as easy when you have huge legs. Lol. Acid reflux is a thing that happens more to overweight people. Just our organs being pushed more, I guess. It sucks. Seating on public transportation, airplanes, any seating that doesn't have solid dividers. We know you don't want to sit beside the fat person, but trust me, we're trying to take up as little space as possible, to the point of doing some pretty impressive contortion and or making ourselves dang uncomfortable in the process. Anyone else here sat with their butt halfway up the wall on a plane? Doctors never taking me seriously. I was told once that only overweight people suffer from headaches and migraines, and that if I lost 100+ pounds my headaches would miraculously disappear. Meanwhile, my very normal mother, who was not overweight in any sense, suffered from migraines and debilitating headaches. Self-confidence is also a big thing I struggle with. It's awful when people prescribing psych meds mistake clinical depression for temporary depression caused by a sedentary lifestyle, despite a history of depression that predates the weight gain by nearly a decade. That overeating is an incredibly strong craving. I'm treating it as such. I'm still working on it, but I find that it helps me ignore it. By the way, cravings last about 15 minutes. If you distract yourself for the 15 minutes, the craving goes away on its own. Source: I'm a counselor in training and work with those with addictions. People hate you. They hate you. They can know nothing about you except that you're fat, and they can just absolutely hate you. This is maybe not unexpected, but it's certainly not thought about much, but it is absolutely exhausting being fat. Sometimes I barely have the energy to get out of bed and do basic things. You can possibly be at the stage where you've lost 50 pounds and still on track for losing more, and you're indulging in a burger one day as a treat and no one will let you enjoy it. Strangers will condemn you for being fat and eating something unhealthy. Friends and family will try to talk you out of it because you're on a diet. Why would you ruin all of your hard work like that? They are much more critical of my food choices than they are of their own food choices. I may be fat, but some of my co-workers live on Diet Coke and fried food. They just eat less of it. Am I really more unhealthy than they are? People never consider that you're losing weight if you're still fat and they don't know you well. They assume you're not trying. Being mean about it doesn't motivate me to lose weight. Throwing facts at me doesn't make me want to lose weight. Pointing out how simple it is to lose weight doesn't make it easy to lose weight. Some medical professionals won't look past the fat, or feel that since you don't care about your health, why should they put more than the bare minimum of effort into dealing with you? This causes problems with misdiagnosis, lack of proper preventative care, and can be really dangerous if you have a serious medical issue. I was hovering below TLC special episode fat for quite a while. In the last 2 years, I've lost about 160 pounds so far, still more to go, but even the difference now is amazing. I do need to preface this by saying I've been very lucky in many aspects of my life. I'm happily married to my high school sweetheart. I've had a relatively successful career, although I'm sure my weight has held me back, and I have great relationships with family and friends. I sometimes wonder if everything else wasn't positive in my life, if I would have done something sooner to change. Who knows? Here are my top 5 highlights, many of which have been mentioned. 1. Furniture. I'm always concerned about structural integrity and size. Aisle or arm lift seats for theaters, tables instead of booths, lugging heavy-duty camping chairs to family events. Constant worry that a chair may not hold. To this day I won't venture into really old historical spots. I'll be goddamned if I end up on the news as the fat guy who crashed through the staircase at Independence Hall. My latest irrational fear was pushing pizza past its tipping point. 2. Clothing. At my highest weight, I needed to shop online, and it seemed like the style was about 20 years behind the times. I'm currently back in brick and mortar, still big and tall, but so many more options. Tucked-in shirts for work are always an issue as my waist sits so high. Thank God for banded bottom polos and a relatively lax business dress code. 3. Children. As a wise comedian once said, middle schoolers are the worst. I actually avoid all children once they can talk. I don't care that the little ones stare, but I am always concerned they will make a comment. I'm not nervous that it would hurt my feelings, but rather the awkward moment it created with the parents. I even try to plan trips around non-peak children times. Don't forget field trips though. This fear also applies to homeless and crazy folks in the cities. 4. Medical. The issues do catch up with you. People can be heavy and happy, but at a certain weight, there will be repercussions. I'm fighting through those now and wish I could smack my 18-year-old self in the head. 5. Mental. The biggest thing for me is that at a very large size, your weight, and the workarounds necessary to get through the day, are constantly on your mind. From the moment I wake, almost all decisions are impacted by the limitations I have created for myself. cut through the middle of the lobby because I see two teens who could say something or snicker. Can I fit in that conference room chair? It's 3 o'clock. Better get inside before the school bus drives by. The mental drain of dealing practically and logistically with obesity, as well as the insecurity of it all, is a burden. You have been visited by the beautiful Squidward. Comment beautiful as Squidward so that your beauty excels that of others. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video, or don't. Either way, have a great day you magnificent people.